Cool. I don't know. Should I do an intro?
Yeah, bash on.
I don't even know what to call this thing.
The J1. Nah, it's Jay White's thing.
The G1 recap.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what the opposite of a climax is. G1 letdown.
Anti-climax. The anti-climax.
The anti G1.
Look, that sounds like we're against it.
Oh, true. But yeah, we've been watching the G1. We've watched 2 nights of it now. The 16th and 17th. Now the 18th. A little bit late on the preview, but that is both of our faults. So, we should probably start at the very beginning. This is like my first G1. Like I've dabbled in the other G1s, but I've never been able to keep up with it. I actually didn't even know the rules before. But this seems like a good time to start. Basically so this year they've got 4 brackets instead of 3. And I don't really know what that means.
It's usually 2 brackets.
Is it usually only 2 brackets?
Usually A and B, but now they got 4.
Jesus. So it wasn't just a little increase then. They decided just to
switch it up. I think
supersize it.
It was a 4 bracket. I can't remember what year, but it was quite a few years ago. It did have a 4 bracket at one point, and then it became 2 brackets with like a lot more people per table, and now it's back to being a 4 bracket again.
Interesting. I thought this was the first time they did a 4 bracket.
News.
I'm not sure. Either way, each bracket seems to be given a designation of their YouTube previews. So block A is the monster block.
Yes.
Mostly because it has Lance Archer, Jeff Cobb, Bad Luck Fale, Jonah, and Okada. But then also Toru Yano and Tom Lawler, which is really funny.
I mean, Tom Lawler is a beast in his own right.
You know, I have never seen anything until this week, and I watched the match on Strong, and I saw him in his first match. There, and I'm hooked. I'm impressed. I like him.
He used to be a real fight. He was like was it UFC done?
Yeah, that's what they were saying on commentary. I've heard his name through the grapevine. Because he's been in MLW, is Court Bauer's other not Ring of Honor promotion. Don't call it Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor. And then the block B, I think is called Mission. It's got something to do with everyone has like a goal. So you've got Jay White, Tai Chi, Tamatonga, Tomohiro Ishii, Sanada, Great Okan, and Chase Owens.
Don't know what each one of the missions are, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. An interesting thing about the G1 I didn't realize is if the champion wins the G1, they get to choose their opponent.
Yes.
Which I think is really cool. Because usually, when it comes to the Royal Rumble or whatever, usually we eye roll when, like the champion's in the Rumble. Because you're like, well, what are they fighting for? But with this rule in the G1, I've never heard it before. I'm guessing it's probably a long-standing rule, but I find it really cool.
Yep.
And then there's Block C. Can't remember what this one's called, but they all have funny names. I think Block C is like, it looks like the wrestler's block. You know what I mean? So you've got Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Evil, Hiroki Goto, sorry, Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta, and Aaron Henare. Henare, sorry. When I was writing my preview for the G1, I'd never ever heard of Aaron Henare.
Yeah, I'll come back. I've got notes on Henare because
I guess that's the point of the G1, right? Is they're giving people a slightly bigger platform to kind of showcase themselves.
Yes,
only a few people though, not too many. Block D. Block D is probably the most interesting one for me personally. Got Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, Juice Robinson, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, Yoshihashi, El Phantasmo, ELP, Yujiro Takahashi, and David Finlay.
Yep.
I like that one. That's a good one. I don't know who Yujiro is though. Not gonna lie.
Well, on Takahashi.
Yeah.
He is Tokyo Pimp. He is the Tokyo Pimp.
Oh, I do recognize him. I guess I've just never really seen anything done.
Comes out with, because I used to think that it was weird because I thought her name was Peter. And I was like, but I don't think it is. I think it's Pita. But I'll double check that. But yeah, he comes out with he's it's like a Japanese Godfather, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got as well. So, the first match from the 16th, which was just the other day, Henare versus Tanahashi.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about you, right? People have always told me Tanahashi is like the John Cena of New Japan. He's the main guy. He's like, you're always going to get a great match out of him. He's there.
Yes.
Didn't look very good here.
I think Tana's getting old. Do you know what I mean? He is getting old, and I think it's more evident. Like the more I've watched, even like last year and the year before, I think that I think he's slow. You can see him slowing down.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's very like stiff.
Yeah,
Not very fluid anymore.
yep, I agree. I think especially like don't get me wrong, he still pulls out the moves, like the odd moves, like the high fly flow, and stuff like that, and it still makes it look good. But I think I mean, they mentioned it on commentary, like his last 3 years, I think he scored 8 on the
Yes,
G1.
I noticed that as well. They said that his average score dropped from 10 to 8 over the last few
Yeah.
years.
And I think that's going to keep either staying that way or declining. I think that this match with Henare as well. So the last I had seen Henare, though that I watched him really was I think it was World Tag League when he was tagging with Tana, funnily enough. And I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought he was quite dull. No character about stuff like that. However, I obviously he's joined United Empire under Will Ospreay. He looks like he's got bigger, and even when he joined United Empire, I remember when he joined, I was like, I'm not really that bothered because to me that seemed like a meh
I
kind
guess
of
he's
thing.
like the muscle of the group, though, right?
Is his in that match, his strikes, like he came across a massive beast. His like an actual fighter. Do you know what I mean his punches were like they looked legit. Like you could feel them through the screen. And I thought that it was really well done. Like I think he's improved, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, he's got a mean Phil Nelson. I think he calls it
Yep.
Ultimo.
Yeah, I think.
And he's got another finisher, the Perfect Plex, which is called Streets of Rage. And I was just thinking, this guy's just a video game nerd. It's weird because he doesn't look like a video game nerd. He looks like he's going to fucking punch your face off. But he calls himself the Ultimate Weapon, which is from Final Fantasy VII. His finisher is called Ultimo, which I think is just another variation of Ultima. And Streets of Rage is another one of his finishers. So I was like, guy just plays video games and now he wrestles.
Yep, sounds like it.
I mean, most wrestlers are nowadays. But yeah, I've wrote that I believe Tana went for a frog splash. He hit the first frog splash. Didn't go for the pin, weirdly enough. Went for the second one.
Yeah, so he done like a standing frog splash. Got it. He went that like obviously now he's lying on the mat. He went to high fly flow, which is so hard to say.
Went for the finisher, didn't hit it. Henare got his knees up.
Like that, generally the way it landed looked painful.
It did. It always looked rough when you land on the knee. Then I believe he hit the Phil Nelson, or Henare hit the Phil Nelson, and then hit the Streets of Rage, and Henare gets a surprise win.
I was very surprised.
I was very surprised.
I was very surprised at that. Didn't expect it at all.
You'd think, I guess we're so used to like American booking, but you think in American style booking, you would have the big guy go over first.
Yes, especially the first.
Yeah, exactly. The first match, the opener of G1, everyone's watching. Hannah doesn't get the win. It's a bit weird.
I agreed. Funnily, I was thinking this when I was watching the whole thing, the whole 2 days, in that the difference between like the American style booking and New Japan's booking is with the American style booking. Like, don't be wrong. Obviously, in this year's G1, there is certain people where you're pretty confident you're not going to win. Like, you can quite clearly say that. Yeah. However, when American booking, it's almost the opposite. We're like, yeah, you're definitely going to win. Do you know what I mean? It sometimes feels too obvious. So when you get a surprise, like I think New Japan are always really good at surprises. Like don't get me wrong, obviously the last few years, Ibushi's won it, I think, twice in a row.
I think so, yeah.
And it is a miss, obviously, with everything that's going on with him. It's a miss not to have him in it. But I think that if you look at the scope of who's up there, Okada, Jay White, even just say before the tournament, Tanahashi, Osprey,
Naito.
Even Juice, the likes of them. Like, there's so many names that actually you wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Yeah.
So when you get a result where Henare beats Tana, it's actually a massive shock, but it actually heightens Henare so much further because it doesn't feel like, I don't know. In America, for example, if you have like the underdog beat, or like say, for example, I'm trying to think of somebody, if you had Omos from WWE beat Brock Lesnar, let's say, it does have a hype for a bit, but dies quickly because that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
However, in Japan, Henare beating Tanahashi, that will continue to be a thing. Like it's like they bring it up during the one of the matches. They talk about matches that happened like 10 years ago. You look at the storyline between the Kenta and ZSJ match, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but
go.
I do remember them saying in that match, this is like the third time they fought each other in like 3 years or something like that. And there was no immediate build up to this match. It was purely just they faced each other before and they want to do it again.
Yeah.
Or rather they have to because of the tournament.
Yep, competition.
So moving on, this is the match I have the least notes for, and it's not a bad thing. El Phantasmo versus Will Ospreay. It went 15 minutes, and it was very flippy. But it was very good.
Yeah, I was surprised to see El Phantasmo even in there. I hadn't looked at the list of participants. I knew it was going to be bigger. However, I was surprised originally when I seen El Phantasmo being named. I will say right off the bat, his entrance is cool. That jacket is unreal. Like the light up jacket, big fan.
Yeah, I like his vibe. I like his look. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Headbanger.
I as a bit of a humble brag, I actually didn't know who ELP was until I met him. It's a weird humble brag. He came to Discovery with I've completely forgotten the name. The big tall guy.
Fale?
No. The young one.
The young big tall guy? There's a lot of big tall guys.
The Fatu's son.
Oh, Hikuleo. Yes, Hikuleo.
Yes. Very tall, by the way, in real life.
Yes.
So ELP and Hikuleo came to Discovery, and that was the first time I met them. And I was like, I like these guys. And then I looked them up, and I was like, I admittedly like ELP a little bit more.
Agreed.
Mostly because the personality, I think, shines a lot more with me.
Yes.
But yeah, like I think the way that ELP moves around the ring is really unique. There was a part in the match, I can't remember it specifically, but I think he goes for like a dive and then rolls forward, flips off the ropes. Ospreay moves, and ELP lands on his feet, but rolled back again.
Yeah.
And he ends up back on his feet, and you're just like, he does these like rolls like no one's business. And it's very impressive. It actually reminds me a lot of Ospreay a couple years ago.
I was just about to say that. It was so much like young. I mean, that match there was very, I would almost say vintage. Like, kind of had Ospreay going back to his aerial assassin ways for a lot of it. The drop kick to start the match looked lethal. Ospreay started really fast. He did do his flips. ELP done his flips. Even the reverse Spanish fly that they did looked unreal. It was very, very vintage Ospreay. And I think that even like the selling between the two of them as well was legit. Like, it looked good. However, what I liked though, almost like a thing, maybe this is me being very English teacher like looking into it, but the ending was the hidden blade. It was okay, let's get rid of the aerial assassin, which is what Ospreay did to become this Commonwealth Kingpin, to become this like essential heavyweight kind of guy. He got rid of the flips, and what done the deal was the hidden blade, which, by the way, is my favorite finisher in any wrestling.
I
It's so
get
basic, but
I get
looks
that.
clean.
Like, it's very much a kind of like, you're seeing all these flippy shit, but it isn't me anymore. Let's put this to
Yep.
bed. Hidden blade.
Cool.
More impressively, I actually thought the ending was really well done because ELP, I can't remember exactly what move does it, but ELP hits a huge move, goes to the pin, and then he argues with a
Yeah.
ref. And when he
Yes.
argues with a ref, that gives Osprey the time to hit the hidden blade. And it
Yes.
almost feels like ELP would have won if he didn't argue with the referee.
Yep.
And
the thing is, the hidden blade as well was from the front. Usually he hits it from the back of the neck as
Right.
well. So I like the fact that the hidden blade can just be hit from any.
It was almost like a desperation move, really.
It's it's another reference to gaming though. I think it's
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
Assassin's Creed, exactly.
Well, the aerial assassin is an Assassin's Creed thing.
Exactly.
When he comes, you mentioned the jacket earlier. When he came out, I actually wrote in my notes, he's trying to look like Okada. And
okay.
I don't know if it's intentional, but when like his jacket and his flowing bottoms with the kind of like the design on them, Osprey,
yeah,
he looks like Okada.
I get what you mean. Yeah,
and
I think
maybe it's intentional. I don't know.
I think the vibe they're going for, because if you look at Osprey, it's like it's always fur. Now I don't think it's real fur, but it's always like you look at Okada's is very, I don't know, like wrestler like, whilst Osprey's almost reminds me of like remember it wasn't Miz, it was Morrison and Nitro's big kind of elegant fancy, we've got money to spend kind of, and that's the way it comes across because that's who he is kind of thing. No, anyway.
So moving on, we move on to IWGP Heavyweight Champion Jay Whitehall versus Cold Heart Sanada.
Yes. Cold Skull.
Oh, sorry. My mistake. I think one of the most interesting things about this is the story going into it. The commentators, Kevin Kelly, kept mentioning how inconsistent Sanada is.
Yes.
They really hammered that home, how inconsistent Sanada is in G1s. Apparently not very good.
Well, I mean, he's been to the finals a few times. And yeah, he does. He's sometimes, because there's times where he looks like Sanada's going to get the win and then doesn't. A lot of the time, again, but it's like it feels like, again, this is American booking style. It feels like that's setting up for a Sanada kind of comeback story kind of thing.
Yeah, I
feel
like
it happens all the time.
I was watching when Evil turned on Sanada and joined. Was it Bullet? I can't remember.
He joined Bullet Club.
And I remember at the time I wasn't really keen on it because I quite liked their tag team. But
agreed.
Keeping up with the news, I never really feel like Sanada got anything out of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So in a way, almost like you're saying, long-term booking, Sanada, yes, you're going to break up your tag team partner, you're going to lose your opportunities, but down the line, we're going to build your character up to be basically someone who loses with a chip on his shoulder.
Yes.
And now he's going to hopefully start coming out.
I think a lot of it actually originally came down to the fact that Sanada wouldn't sign a permanent deal with New Japan. And I think that's how it all started. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is, and it's progressed from there, but I'm pretty sure I read that's how it all started with Sanada, and that's why they never really wanted to push him, because it was the whole, well, if you're not our signed guy, we can't really have you being the face because you're not ours, if that makes sense.
One of the funniest parts of the match, I actually got a laugh from the crowd, was Jay running outside the ring, as he does every match.
Always does.
And asking Sanada to open the ropes because he's the champion. Sanada does it, and it makes the crowd laugh. It's really, really weird.
Do you not think Jay White is heel work with his vocal, like the whole? I mean, I know he's been doing it for the whole of pandemic, but like getting the crowd to try and cheer, and they never do, because they can't. They're not allowed to in Japan yet. I think they did at Osaka, and they got. I think it was Jay White, and they got in trouble. I think that's what Kevin Kelly said.
Yeah.
But the whole Jay White's heel work when you hear him talk. There's others that again we'll get into that, but his heel work when he is like sa na da like tries and he eggs it on brilliant. I think Jay White's one of the greatest heels going at the moment. He's just a lovable, like he's a prick in the best way.
I think I love how it's almost impossible to do, but WWE and AEW have tried to ignore the pandemic, pretend that it doesn't really exist, and that these wrestling shows exist in a bubble where, you'll be entertained for 2 to 3 hours, a day. Just enjoy the show. What I love about Jay White's performance is that he's able to take the pandemic and work it into his character by by egging the crowd on to cheer for him and cheer for the person he's fighting. Is great heel work because he knows they can't and they can't do it, and it just creates this like really really cool connection with the crowd because they can't cheer.
Yep. What do you think of the Paradise Lock?
I wrote in my notes, Sanada has a great crowd response during the weird lockup situation.
So the Paradise Lock is a move that, again, obviously, like they tie the legs and they tie the feet, and he turns them over, and everyone loves it because it's like they're stuck, kind of thing. And then he does the drop kick to kick them out of it. It's one of these moves. It's like I'm a big fan of it, but I'm also like it's really. I feel like I might be wrong, but I feel like it's really easy to get out of. But it's always been his thing, and I think it works well. The crowd like it, so
I think Orange Cassidy uses it in it. Well,
does he?
I think so, and it kind of works for him because it's obviously a goofy move with a goofy character.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but it does look a bit odd, I will admit, because it seems like a comedy lock with a serious wrestler.
Yes. But then when you look at his moves, like he's skull end, that he spins him around and keeps him in the air for a bit. Looks good. I feel like I think again, egging on back to what we said before, because I've got a note on this, is that Sanada at one point, this my friend is arriving by the way. Sanada at one point is
going to take a pause.
He does a pin, and then even the give me 2 minutes. Even the way that he keeps the hold, he lets go because the ref, like Guerrero, gets up on the ropes, and therefore he lets go. And even the commentators are like, "Why did he do that?" Like it's clearly he's bottling it again, kind of thing. And it's like that seems to be synonymous with who he is. Also, can we just also mention the low blow that happened when he knocks Sanada out and it hit on to Jay White, and the ref was like, "Nah, I'm not disqualified. That was a mistake."
Well,
but,
so it kind of builds up. So at some point in the match, I think Gedo jumps up on the so he hits in it. Sanada's got a Dragon Sleeper in. He's gonna make Jay tap. Gedo gets on the apron, and Sanada just lets go because interruptions. And then Jay hits a low blow. Now later in the match, Jay White gets hit by a very very stiff forearm that knocks him down. Jay hits the stiff forearm that knocks Sanada down, and as Sanada goes down, he accidentally kicks Jay in the balls. And the ref's like, it was an accident.
So well done. So well done.
And I think, so Sanada goes for a Dragon Sleeper, but Jay rakes the eyes, slips out, and hits the Blade Runner, and it's a very quick win.
I think there was loads of near falls in it where you feel like, oh, who's going to win, someone. But I think the way that the Blade Runner was executed from the corner, so he does the kind of corner tactic to get into the Blade Runner,
right?
And then he hits Blade Runner, game over. But again, I didn't see Jay White losing. But what I like again about the G1 is that the world champ, like New Japan, are very protective of their top champion. You look at like when Okada had it, Okada never lost.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But even when you got like the J1, the G1, it's not that I don't see him losing, but there's times where I could envision him getting beat. There's people I can see beating him. One of the people I could have seen beating him was Sanada. I can't remember who was in Jay White's group. But if I just look kind of quickly.
Yeah, I also thought maybe Sanada could have won. So Jay White's got Taichi, Tamatonga, Ishii, Sanada, Great Okan, and Chase Owens. Realistically, most of them could beat Jay.
Yep.
Maybe not Great-O-Khan, maybe not Chase.
Great-O-Khan actually I could, not right now maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
Khan's a
next
funny
year,
one,
but
yeah.
Ishii definitely could.
Definitely.
Chase Owens I think will lie down. Tai Chi.
I don't see Tai Chi beating yeah.
Tai Chi I don't again, but I'll come on to it when we get to that. But Tai Chi is being built to be the next leader of Suzuki-gun at one point. So I don't know if they're still doing that, but that was like. But Tama, I could see beating
Possibly.
Jay because that's when I think if Jay's going to lose, it'd be Tama that'll beat him.
So moving on to the main event of this show, we've got Okada versus Jeff Cobb.
Yes.
I think. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I heard in the commentary saying that Jeff Cobb won 8 straight matches in his last G1.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Jesus. And
Jeff Cobb's like, I like Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb's very good.
I think now that he's signed a full deal, like I think it was last year he kind of signed it, but it was like at the kind of New Japan at the G1 he kind of signed it. Now that he's like a full-time guy, he would be my dark horse for winning the G1.
It'd be a surprise.
Until after this. I mean, this match, fair enough, I didn't really see him, I'll be honest, I didn't really see him losing to Okada. But I could see him getting, like, if he doesn't win this, I could see him, as long as he continues the way he is, I could see him being a future winner.
Well, the story going into this match is that Cobb won 8 straight matches in his last G1, but he was dethroned by Okada in the last one.
Yes.
So, a very simple story here. Purely kind of just a revenge quest, really. Cobb wanted to get revenge for his loss in the last G1. Yeah, I mean, I think this was great. They played Cobb's strength, kind of like.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, like
Cobb came across as really strong, like really, like his like. What's mental is he isn't the muscle. Like if you look at the United Empire, you've got Henare's muscle, Great-O-Khan is muscle, and Cobb is muscle. Yet they all individually own their own stuff. Like I think what I like about Cobb as well is that he has personality as well. Like even when he done the surfs up, when he was like on Okada, riding Okada like a surfboard, stuff like that. I was like, that's so good. Like it's just a little bit's character.
I think that the monster block, as it's called, is being set up for Okada to win. And
Yes.
The story going into this is how is Okada gonna handle people bigger and heavier than him?
Yes,
that's the story.
He will. Yeah, I think he will easy.
And because it's Okada, he's probably going to be fine.
Yes.
There was a good moment here where the Cobb, it's quite early in the match. Cobb did a fallaway slam, you know, the one where you lift him, throw him over your head.
Yes, the fallaway slam.
And it went right out of the ring.
The note I have is that fallaway slam.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I said.
Yeah, the fallaway slam right out of the ring. Or, well, he was in the ring, but Okada was thrown so hard he fell out of the ring.
Oh, it showed how much strength Cobb has.
They also did an Okada spot, which I thought was really well. They end up on basically on the top rope. Okada's on the top rope, and Cobb hits an amazing dropkick for a man of his stature.
Yes.
And he does a gut wrench suplex off the middle rope.
Yep.
So Cobb is strong. Okada is hurt. Is the story of this match?
Yes. I think as well. Obviously, I think they dealt with it well. The ring broke. Like a bit of when the boards came up during the match, and Okada points out like what I love is they didn't ignore it on commentary.
Right.
They weren't just like, "Oh, carry on," as if it never happened. Kevin Kelly said Okada's pointed out the board to Red Shoes, and then I think it was Red Shoes. I think it was.
So, yeah.
And then like Red Shoes is like you can see him jumping on it, like 2 feet trying to get it back down, and they just play off that instead of. Like,
I never noticed that. Did the ring break?
So it's like it's
the board slipped.
It's just a board slip, so you can just like land something. The board sticks up like this.
Oh, I never noticed that.
And you don't really see much of it. You just see Okada points at it, and then the camera kind of pans away, and you can kind of see Red Shoes in the top corner, like trying to jump on it. It does come back out a bit later during a move, which is when it hits. It comes out and it hits Okada in the back. But other than that, it was only twice that it happened. But the way they kind of went around it, Like they didn't ignore it, but they didn't focus on it either. I thought it was really well handled.
I like New Japan's way of you know, like commentating is very real. It's
Yes.
commentated like it's a real sport.
Yes.
And it's treated like a real sport in general. It's not really
Yeah.
taken as entertainment. Well, obviously it is entertainment, but like
You look at like it's a big deal over there.
yeah, it's
They're
not
not like
gimmicked. Or it doesn't feel gimmicked.
yeah. And I think with that, the I still think even though obviously the ending came where Rainmaker was hit. That's it. You don't kick out the Rainmaker. I think though Cobbs came out of that looking really strong, and I also think that Cobb's finisher, the Tour of the Islands, is a phenomenal finisher. I really like everything about it.
I think the highlight of this match, and I don't think I've ever seen it before, Cobb hits a tombstone and then lifts Okada back up without letting him go. So he drops to his knees and just gets back up and hits like another tombstone. It was just insane.
Does he not get back up and then Okada
Okada reverses it into a spinning.
Yeah.
But the fact that Cobb was able to drop him and lift him back up was just so impressive.
Cobb's a beast.
Yeah.
Man. Like between him and who's the other one? Him and that Jonah. They both remind me of like Maui from Moana. Like just an absolute machine he's just unreal.
I think
overall,
I think it's almost a shame that Cobb didn't go to AEW, but he's still doing amazing work elsewhere. So
100%. I think in day one, as much as I liked the Okada match, I had to give the match of the night to Jay White and Sanada.
Really?
I think there was more. I personally, like, don't get me wrong, I loved the Ospreay El Phantasmo match, but for sheer quality of everything, I think that the Sanada Jay White had the story, it had the heel work, it had the build, had the wrestling. You know, it wasn't like that whole, like, say, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Ospreay, the flippies, and then the killer blow. I liked the Okada Cobb, I thought was phenomenal. But for me personally, just for everything about it, I thought the Jay White Sonata was really good. And then that to me is a final worthy match as well. Like I could see that being a fight. Obviously, it'd be a lot longer, but that's a final I could see happen.
Yeah, I did like the Sanada White match. I think White's character really shined in that match as well. But I think for sheer entertainment, it's got to be ELP and Ospreay.
Yeah,
because I think that the two of them just did a really well put together match, and it had its flippy bits obviously, but I think it told a really cool story. So
okay,
and it gave Ospreay a really strong win heading into the rest of the tournament. And it made ELP look like a bit of a badass. They almost beat Ospreay, and that's really cool.
Fair.